So, welcome to the Damn Mainstream podcast. We have
Ken.
What? He cut me
interruption.
off.
Stop, Rem.
He
Go on,
cut me off. It's cool. Yeah. He clotheslined me, boy. Yeah, got hearing me on the pod. It's good people.
Come on. And
Ken. Hi, Kenny.
geez,
To everyone that knows me. Hi, Jen.
man, like Ken, you know, Bobby and Ken. Come on. All right. So, Rem, what's your first question?
All right. So yeah, this is one of my would you rather question. Yeah.
It's
So
always tight.
would you rather always eat other people's food and leave your own plate alone, or would you rather anything you eat, yeah, it comes out of your pores.
What?
Comes out your pores.
So yeah, so basically, obviously, you know, like instead of you going toilet,
It comes out your
Comes out
pores.
your
No,
The first one.
Yeah, I'm yamming
not
other people's
doing.
plates. What are you talking about? I'm shitting out my skin. I'm
I'm
sweating
my
shit.
nose,
Are you mad?
in my cheek. Never.
Bro, your armpits are just stinking as shit. Nah. Relax.
That's a messy life.
Bro, that's not. I don't even see why that's an option. That's not.
Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, trust.
That's horrific.
And the alternative would just be
Nazi.
yamming stuff off someone else's plate. Calm.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
What in any setting? So you're at work, at lunch, and you're munching.
Would you rather be going to your pores at work though?
Bro, you're not getting a job. If your
Right.
armpits smell like shit, yeah, you ain't getting a job. Bro, we're talking about
Right.
actual feces, you know? You know that stench? Imagine
Yeah,
if
the-
BO smells like no. Now imagine if that BO started off as shit.
And people's levels are not the same, so that's long.
It's
No,
long.
you've got to know. So
It's
I'd
long.
rather eat off my colleague's plate
Big
in the
fat.
canteen. I'm all
Love that.
Alright, so I'm going to bring in my first question. My question for you guys is, what do you think life is going to be like after COVID? Who wants to start?
Cue music.
Jeez.
I think,
Oh.
I think when COVID is done, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
no
When
longer.
we're finally released and no one's even talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, you know me, I have, my rapid tendency. So I think that after COVID,
Mm.
there's going to be more, like, the state is going to be a lot more involved in our day-to-day lives, more so than they are now. We live in the CCT capital of the world, or I think after China.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's going to be a lot more surveillance in regards to, you know how they're doing track and trace and stuff like that. I think that's going to become more of an integral part of our daily lives now. Like, the state being more involved with where you go, do like monitor the movement. So like how China is now, obviously not to that extreme, but like that, like I guess in the hopes of preventing something like COVID happening again, they're going to start implementing these things small, and also like I feel like just being quite restrictive in it, like the same way like when you're flying out, just a bit more surveillance, more of a surveillance state. I think is going to be definitely the theme. I feel like they're going to privatize the NHS.
Yeah.
I feel like this whole COVID thing is going to be like the perfect example of why they need to privatize it. They're going to blame the NHS for everything. They're going to blame is not going to shift to the right people, and so I think it's going to become a lot more like strict, draconian kind of surveillance type house, stuff like that. That's what I think. I don't know about you, but
Reason, Rem.
But I think definitely life after COVID. So, like we're speaking about in the last pod, it's going to be like a new norm. And I think this whole thing of being a cashless society is kind of thick and fast.
Cashless, yeah.
So, I think money, like physical money, is going to be obsolete very, very, very soon.
Let me just speak on that quickly as well while you're there, because you just reminded me. So with the cashless thing, it's nuts because I don't know if you probably didn't, but basically today there was news. So I don't know if you've seen with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price has gone nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, like British people, that invested when it was cheap, and now they've made like 100 rack, 80 rack. But HSBC have said they will not take any money that has been gained from cryptocurrency. They won't let you deposit that, which is insane. Because what kind of business is it of them? They're a bank. You are supposed to be able to hold your money in a bank, and they've said they're a legal method. It's not like you've been selling crack. You've done Bitcoin, you made a profit, but they're telling you they're not going to take any of the P's from that. That's not
what they hating because they didn't.
Yeah, because
they
of
get in on
Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and what it stands to do to the banking sector is why they're trying to do it. Their excuse, obviously they didn't say that. Their excuse is, it's to safety. We don't want people investing money
regulate,
in it. And can't be regulated. They could lose money. But in reality, is they don't want to encourage people to move money from savings accounts to like cryptocurrencies.
It will render banks obsolete. I get that.
Exactly.
Right. That's crazy though.
But that's insane because if you're all cashless, it shows what they can do. Imagine they tell you, I don't know, you've been doing X, Y, Z. We don't like it. You can't deposit your money. Then money you've earned is now worthless. If you can't use it, then but go on, Rem, with your
cashless society, and I think like it's mad to think that imagine how many people haven't seen a lot of haven't even hugged a lot of their family who they would normally go and see, like their elderly or whatever, or or their nieces, nephews, whatever. Like, I think this whole thing of like physically being around people is unfortunately to a lot of people that really believe in this thing it's gonna dwindle, man.
While you're here though,
just fear of
just spot my mind again. Imagine there's certain things that are time critical. So imagine, let's say in February last year, February 2020, you have a baby. If the grandparents haven't seen them from then, they never see it as a baby. Like after a year and whatever this is now, it's almost like a toddler now, isn't it? After like a year, they're doing stuff. Like you could probably lift your head up by this age after a year. I don't know. I don't know the timeline and stuff, but you could do more stuff than you would after you just come out. So they've missed that now. The grandparents are never going to get that again. They're never going to see it. They're never going to get that new baby smell. They're never going to do all that stuff. They thought it'd be a couple of weeks and now it's gone forever. So a lot of them might feel a way about that. But
I definitely feel... Oh, sorry. Go on, man.
No, go on.
I think definitely... I would say I don't want to say like a rise in like mental health occurrences, but perhaps a rise because I feel like because now everyone's at home, people are not at the liberty to be, going out or even being like sectioned, etc., stuff like that, being able to go physically to these places, to these, these centres where they could receive help there. Because everything now has come online, I think at some point all this virtual stuff kind of now becomes obsolete because a lot of people need physical contact. They need to be able to see someone, to speak to someone. And so now everyone's saying, okay, call this number if you're feeling low or text. A lot of people don't feel that same connection. And so I do think that when COVID is done and people are allowed out, I do think there will be more like occurrences of like mental health situations or more people admitting or needing help with their mental health. And I'm not just talking about anxiety, depression, but even like schizophrenia, bipolar. I'm thinking of people who have schizophrenia who haven't been able to go out or haven't been able to see their family who are the direct support system. I find that, like mental health as a whole is always an issue during COVID, but I think even after COVID, adjusting to this new lifestyle, as it kind of be quite surveillance and quite, restrictive, I think it's going to also be something to like look for.
Yep. And saying that, just because you prompted me again, I think that's like a huge thing after COVID because even if you think about us, like me and you, Kenny, but even Rem in your travels, you'll see certain people at certain periods. So like 18 is not 18 for everyone. Certain people, you get to uni at 18 and they'll make a huge transformation in their ability to talk to people and to relate to people and to communicate between 18 and 21 when they finish, or whatever age they finish. And that's been taken from them. Don't forget, all these students are isolated. They're stuck at home or they're stuck in their halls. They're not being out at nightclubs having to deal with certain situations. They're not here doing like making and doing all these little things, phone calls to the doctors on their own because they're away from their mum now, and this, that, and the third. And all these things are things that you don't really notice, but they're building you up. And as soon as you're out in the wild now, you have all these skills to draw from, and it makes you a more rounded person. A lot of people are going to be dumped into a world as a grown person, expected to behave like a grown person, and they've missed on however many years of crucial interaction. Who knows, like, what kind of knock-on effect this is going to have?
Yeah,
nuts,
man. So I think I was literally going to say what Kenny was saying. Yeah, just that whole thing of physical touch is going to dwindle, man. And mental health as a result, because as we know, physical touch or even just a hug releases endorphins, which really raise the profile of the person. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And a lack of that it's mad.
Yeah.
So man, that's me.
Okay. And then just the next question is connected to this one. So I'm saying, with over 80,000 people dead now from COVID in the UK, do you think it's time that the entire system needs to be rebuilt? So like, we can't reform this. This needs to be knocked down and started again, or do you think we can reform the parties that are in power to make them act properly in future?
You mean the political system?
Yeah.
I think that, honestly speaking, I feel like when you're exposed to certain groups of people, certain kind of like narratives of things, you kind of assume that that's what the majority of people are thinking, or that that's what is like the status quo.
Yeah.
But then when you actually come out of that bubble and you deep the whole UK, like, there's been many times where we felt like, oh my God, this big incident has happened, this almost like political incident happened in the UK. And you're thinking like, this is going to be the thing that's going to actually catapult people to actually be like, woke.
Yeah.
I hate that word. But, and actually like challenge the political system that's already here. Like, how many times did we think that? Like, Iraq War was a big one. The most amount of people in like UK history to ever protest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they still went to war. Or
we're still there.
the whole Brexit situation, the thing with the Corbyn situation, the whole thing with us now discovering that the Labour Party sabotaged Corbyn.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things that's happened, not just in quarantine, but just before, that have been big enough things to be like, wow, this system is not working at all. It's systemically racist, corrupt. The same way that our government, criticizes sub-Saharan governments for being corrupt and all of this stuff. They're doing the same thing. It's just they've just done it in a bit more of a finesse. I think that I'm not hopeful, if I'm honest, that after COVID that people are going to be like, all right, cool, let's scrap this whole thing and start something new. I don't think that. I don't know, man. I just feel like every single time the UK disappoints me. I don't really have that hope anymore. I hope that they do, just on the sheer respect for the people that died due to government negligence. But I just feel like for the wider UK population, like, we're all black, so we only make up 4% of the UK population. So think about it from a wider perspective. I don't know, man. I'm not hopeful. I would like to see it, but I'm not hopeful.
Yeah, that's still.
Yeah, same. I don't know. I don't think anything's gonna change, man. Plastic anyway. Not much to be honest.
Yeah, still. I don't know, man.
What are you doing?
I don't know, man. I feel like this has to get really bad before people want to put in the work for change, and that's really tight. Because even if you see everywhere else, but you see the States, you see Europe, like mainland, everywhere's peak, but people are still clinging on to this idea that all we need is one good vote and we're back in the game.
Right.
But it's going to take something really drastic where people feel like they got no other option. The vote's taken off the table, all this shit's taken off the table, and then they'll start putting in work to fix their community and fix the wider country at large. But that's sad though, because these big things are very rarely good. They're very rarely calm. They're usually people dying en masse or getting hurt en masse. That sparks the change.
I feel like it could go either way. I feel like it could go either way. Like with these things, all it takes is one thing to push you over the edge. And I think that it could really go other way. Although I'm not hopeful, we don't know how after the lockdown. So what was it, like April? They said that we will be in lockdown. I think after that point, we actually don't know what could transpire from now to then. So something could happen that could push, public opinion over the edge. Like, no, we need to get it. But even with that, I think the furthest that the UK can go to so prove and preserve it is just to change government to Labour. But even Labour now is a complete joke.
Yeah.
So I just think I'm not hopeful. Because like if they do decide, okay, Labour, we don't have anyone in Labour like Corbyn anymore who would want to run for the leadership. The leader that we have now,
flimsy.
It's really just they're not challenging the government. Like that's the whole point of being a leader of opposition party. We've not seen that one time this guy's come into power. So it's concerning for me because I think, it's concerning. It's concerning because I don't think that we even have a good alternative.
Yeah, very
to the Conservative Party.
Yeah, about the concentration camp. I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny.
No.
There's a concentration camp in England, G. It's
What?
not called that.
What?
They call it a detention centre.
Is it near?
No running water. No
Where is
electricity. It's I think it was Yarlswood. Was it Yarlswood? It was one of them. It was one of the name brand ones. But basically, they had no running water and no electricity. And then obviously people were like, "This is mental." Like even the refugees that were trapped there were like, "Brother, this is mad. Just send me out innit. Just dip me out." Like, no, we can't. We have to process your application. Blah blah blah. Tutus, like the human rights lawyers and that were like, you ain't got no running water. Like, there's very likely a chance there's gonna be an outbreak of COVID, and it's gonna rip through it because no one can't wash their hands and that. It's unsanitary.
Yeah.
But
guess what happened? Outbreak ran true. Peak now.
Rapid.
Of COVID.
COVID, yeah.
Of course.
Right.
Got no water. You wash your hands.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised it weren't even more than that, bro.
Yeah, it's true.
Not washing of hands, not washing of anus. That's a bit mad.
You have to get
mad. That's fair down. Nah, come on, man. You need to put it out there. People ain't washing their hands after touching their things. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, man. Just get pink eye in that. Long.
This is yeah, man. No, that's nasty, man.
It's time.
That's crazy.
But the concentration camp, is it for what? Were they refugees? Were they what?
Yeah, it's supposed to be where it's a detention center. So when they're waiting to deport people, or they're processing people's refugee application forms, that's where they hold you. But it's supposed to be like just a safe space to keep you like intermediary. So while they're sorting out your technicalities, they hold you here, and then once you're sorted, they either send you back on deportation or they let you into the country. Or so it's not supposed to be like a prison. It's supposed to be a nice place to just you sit down.
But it is a prison.
Yeah, but it's actually coming like a prison, which is tight. Because don't forget, these people haven't done nothing.
Of course. They've actually come to seek refuge. Like that's not crime. I'm tired of this country, man, and how they deal with people who are not from here. Like it's getting disgusting. It's really like really demoralizing because like nothing's changed. Like, I had a conversation with my dad, and because obviously I work for a charity that works with refugees. We were talking about, you know, my job, and he was talking about his experience coming in the country. You know, this was like 28 years ago, maybe like 29 years ago, almost 30 years ago, yeah. And he was saying how when he first came, you know, bear that man, they were just, he was like, his words were, oh yeah, the UK was very rough, very hostile. So we come in, they wouldn't even really talk to you, they'd put you straight into detention. And we were there for 6 months for no reason. And he was like, he was saying that nobody would know where you are. You weren't even allowed really to like communicate people. You could just write letters. Yeah. So he was saying that people would write letters to the Catholic Church and like advocate for like help and assistance. And then the Catholic Church ended up helping, you know, get them like advocacy and actually get them out kind of thing, and like get them actually like free and fair, whatever it was that they needed, assistance for them to get it. But it shocked me though that from 30 years ago till now, we're still the same.
Yeah. What's biggest?
You know what?
Yeah. Oh no, go on.
No. Yeah, no. I was just gonna say, like, if we really think about the mentality of just people, like think about like racism, for example. Like that's more than probably never gonna get eradicated because it's the mentality.
It's a human thing, I mean? Right? Absolutely.
And you know, regardless of the time, irrespective of the time.
I don't think it's a human thing. I think it's just the way everything's set up. It's going to be perpetual.
You say that again?
No, because Kenny said it's a human thing, like human nature.
Oh,
I don't think it's human. I think the system is set up to perpetuate that. So unless we're going to change the entire system, I think racism's here to stay. You can't have this system and no racism.
Yeah.
But go on.
No, yeah, that's literally what I was going to say. Man.
Okay, what I was going to say was, I think it's mad that there's like no opposition to this. Because everyone chats a good game, but every MP will have access to this data. Like there's an actual concentration camp in the UK right now, chilling. And
it doesn't affect them.
Yeah. But like these are supposed to be certain man you see on TV saying, "Oh, I my heart bleeds for the refugees."
No,
but now refugees are actually getting COVID in there and being trapped 50 in one room and all these things.
Oh my goodness!
And they're quiet. So it's all what's the word? It's all like
it's politics.
Yeah, it's all stunting. It's all for show. Like that's disgusting. That's even worse. I'd rather you were just stone cold racist like Pretty Patel. Because then at least you know I need to keep myself away from her. Certain man are telling us, "Oh, I love black people. Yeah, I love them," and then they're sticking us in cages. No, man, it's man.
Yeah, it's kind of like a whole. They're it's so duplicitous. Like they're showing you one side, and they're doing a complete magazine, which is like what? Because they're accountable to us. Yeah. So like if people on the whole aren't really doing their extra work to actually understand what's actually happening behind the scenes, from the face value, you would just think, oh no, but they said this and they said that, and it makes sense. But no, look at the policy, look at actually the law, look at actually what's being implemented,
and look how the policies are being implemented. A lot of people will make a nice little policy and then tell everyone, you don't really have to listen to that though. Don't worry about that. Just did it for the darkies, you know. I had to keep them quiet, keep them sweet.
And the thing with policy is that policy changes all the time. Policy is not one, it's not law. Policy is like a policy, you advocate for policy. You can reform it, but how it's implemented and what actually becomes law is a completely different thing. And I think, you know, that's something to actually like look at. That everything that they say is like what they're suggesting, but what actually happens, it's not the same.
Big facts, no. Well, Sam, what's the question you lot have got? Roll sank off.
I think this leads into off the back of that politics. I think this obviously leads into, you know, the madness that's happened in Washington.
Come on,
like with, you know, the disgusting thugs. The disgusting violence. So I was so scared, guys. I think
it's their culture, mate. I think it's the music they're listening to.
I was like, these people, how like they need violent policing, but these violent thugs stormed Capitol Hill And I think it's so mad because if you understand how secure that building is.
Oh,
yeah, true.
Right?
Yo, listen to me. Oh my God.
Security and the amount of money, like billions that they spent on security. So people don't deep how secure that building is. So it's actually kind of like a funny joke to actually have seen these crackhead people run into that building with police and security ushering them in. I was actually shocked. I thought it was a joke because that's the most secure building.
Bro,
so
it was like a crackhead horde.
And I just thought, like, how come there's no bodies on the floor? The police officers were surely scared for their lives. I mean, why were bullets fired? Like, you know, like, it was upsetting to me because I feel that every time there's an instance in the United States of blatant racism or systemic racism within police department, within institutions, the judiciary, whatever, whenever there's an instance of like a miscarriage of justice, there's always people who are like, oh no, he should just listen to the law. So, you know, he should have just done this, there's always people who are trying to rationalize the madness. But I think this particular situation was just so blatantly sad to me because it was like, wow, like, do you guys need any other reason to actually see and look at what white privilege is and to stop differencing in policing between people who are white versus people who are of black origin or people who are Latin American or Native Indian? Like, there's a big gap. You can't look at this and say, oh, nah, well, you have to actually say a spade at this point. And those people that I was seeing that just still weren't getting it, political commentary in the United States was still trying to justify. And it's just so, wow, like, this country's wedded to racism, like, wedded. And it's just sad, innit? Because they really do black people dirty over there. And sometimes I think we almost kind of like feel a bit gaslighted. Because you're always trying to like blame humanity and fight for it. But like, well, no, this is wrong. And then when you see something like this happen, and these people actually went into government officials' offices, took laptops, stashed it, confidential info.
Into the office,
you think a black person can get
where were these people?
It's a funny joke, but it's so sad that they were able to get in that far.
Yeah.
Black people wouldn't have even been able to get through the barricading. They would have been military, they would have been whatever. Rubber bullets. And it's just like...
Rubber? Live rounds.
It's depressing, man.
What are you going to say, Rem?
Well, literally, I was going to say, like, where was the security when it's almost like they just ushered them in? Like, yeah, do what you want, say what you want. It's crazy,
bro.
But they did usher them in.
Yeah. You see the video of the black guy, like the black security guard, just waving them through.
Imagine. A lot of people apparently from the security. For what I was reading, a lot of people from like the company that does security, a lot of them resigned. The head of it resigned. Bearman resigned.
Oh yeah.
You have to also bear in mind, a lot of people who support Trump are KKK. A lot of cops are KKK. And so for them, this is like, yeah, boy, this is my thing. So yeah, you gonna come through. So I think, yeah.
Bro, but you have to look beyond all that and look at the arrogance. You see the Donny that got rattled off because he was wearing his work ID, his lanyard.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I've gone to commit treason.
Dumb. Federal crime.
Bro, with my lanyard, with my name, full government.
You're joking.
Bro.
But that just goes to show, Dominic.
He does not care.
That just goes to show how entitled white people have been taught to think that this country is theirs and that they can get away with literal murder, get away with anything. Yeah. So they will think, I'll just pop off after lunch and just go through and run up with these men and go and trash a couple of things. Like, they actually thought that was something that they could actually do. And it goes to show how far removed a lot of white people are from the realities of what life is in their own country. It's really ghetto. It stinks. It's like egg. Stinks, fam.
The only thing I want to add is it's been quite nuts because they just banned Trump from all these sites and Twitter and Facebook. What. But I think this could be even worse. I'm
annoyed about that.
Because don't forget, this brother now, with all of his... Well, these men are obviously on smoke. That's proven. They went with pipe bombs. But now they're going to be they're going to be on an app where there's no one to check them. They're going to be in some echo chamber thing. And do you think that Mark II is going to be calm? They did it, but they advertised this on Twitter, you know. Yeah, can't wait till January 6th or whatever it was. Bro, they're pulling it all back. If you go on Twitter now, you can see people posting it from like December. Can't wait till.
But this is the thing, guys. We have to remember.
It's tight.
We have to remember that the choice of these big tech companies to ban Trump off their platform isn't because of morality. Like, they're pushing it as a thing of it being a moral thing of we cannot support, you know, what tweet could say could, you know, incite insurrection. Trump, at the beginning of his term, has been he's been inciting insurrection from the beginning. Like, that's no cap, right? So, even the whole thing of when the looting starts, the shooting starts, is that not inciting insurrection? He still was allowed on the platform. The only reason why Trump has been banned off his platform is because when Biden comes into office, he has his own plans of how he wants his big tech companies to operate. And so I think this is a bid for this big tech company to say, well, no, like, we're actually censoring these problematic individuals. Look what we've done with Trump. We banned him off the thing. A couple of days before he's due out of office. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a political agenda for them. Because again, these are private corporations. They're not state-run things. Big tech is they're private. They are at the mercy of government. If America would say we're banning Facebook, done.
Yeah, finished.
Do you know what I mean? So I definitely think that we should be aware of that kind of like the political kind of context behind their move to do this. And I think, again, yes, Trump was president at the time, so yeah, you couldn't necessarily censor him. He's the president of the United States. But there could have been ways that they could have censored him or kind of reprimanded him so he would not feel comfortable to tweet such magazines on his platform. But again, we'll see what happens, because I think that it was a little bit, I think it was almost insulting for them to ban him now after all the stuff that happened.
Yeah, sure.
Black Lives Matter and all the other stuff, and even stuff he said about Mexicans and Latin Americans. You can now ban him now. Just goes to show where your compass is, what your priorities are. And that was sad for me to see, because we use these apps, innit? And so for us to use these apps and know that, okay, this is what these creators of these apps stand for, which is like a bit of like a light bulb moment of, do I want to continue engaging with this? Because it's peak.
Give them profit off your back when this is how they think of you. Yes,
right.
Just adding on to that, it's connected with this this lack of or fear of repercussions. Any of you see the video of the white woman at the hotel that tried to tackle the black kid?
No.
Was she white? She looked biracial.
Yeah, no, she was like Latina, but I think she was like half white and then sticks very close to the white side. Only after the mad media backlash. So don't forget, this video was posted by his dad. So basically, the young boy is at a hotel with his dad on like just some holiday, and he comes down for breakfast, and he's on his own, and a woman just approaches him. She ain't even at the hotel. She ain't even going to the hotel. She just approaches him and says, "Oh, you took my phone. You took my phone." He's like, "What?" She tried to take his iPhone out of his hands. Obviously, he's like, "No, this is mine. You can't have this." Then the dad obviously is like, "Well, what's going on here? What are you doing to my son? Relax. What's going on?" She starts screaming about, "He stole my phone. He stole my phone. Don't let him go." So that's
a 14-year-old, you know?
Yeah, about 14, young boy. But dad's like, "Bro, like, my son wouldn't do that. This is his phone. I know his phone. I bought his phone. Like, that's his phone." Long story short, they're going back and forth for time. The dad says, "You know what? This is long." He's recording all this time. Hotel's trying to tell him, "Let me just see the phone. If it's your phone, let me just see it." And that's like, what? Bro, this random thing has just said, allegedly, we got the phone. And, bro, what you talk about? I'm a paying customer here. I'm being accosted, and you're talking about, "Let me see your phone." This is insane. So anyway, the dad's like, "This is long. Like, if you wanna go further and call police, but we're not talking about this no more." So they go to try and walk off. She walls out, bro. "He tried to leave with my phone." Bro, try to do this edge spear. Try to spear man into the turnbuckle. Well, obviously she only weighed like 100 pounds, so he got a little 20 kilos or whatever it was, bro. So he didn't go nowhere. They break it up. Long story short, She left it in an Uber. Uber driver brought it back.
But apparently she knew she left it in Uber as well. She knew, knew that.
This is mad.
I had heard that she knew that the guy at that point did not take a phone, and she knew.
Wow.
Like, she was aware of all of it. And is it mental health? What is that?
Bro, yeah. It has to be. You see when she did they had her on the news. She did an interview.
I saw that.
And her mum is, you can see her mum is trying to tell her, don't say that. her mum's sitting right beside her, just shaking her head. You know when the mum looks up at the heavens and shakes her head? No, don't say. Because she was just chatting smack. Well, I think I'll be very polite to him. And the mum was like, no.
Sounded dumb. Like, she sounded like she had some mental health issue. I was really like, I was not understanding.
Bro, she was a simp. She said, oh, I'm only 22. The boy was 14, G. She said, I'm only 22, I make mistakes. Bro,
they love saying the whole make mistakes at the expense of someone else. It's fine. Like,
14-year-old
allow
black kid.
Allow it.
Yeah,
I didn't her. I was young and dumb. I have a whole life ahead. So did she, no?
Yeah. Triggering, G. She looked directly in the camera.
Americans are really ghetto, man. I'm sorry. They're just so ghetto.
Bro.
That place is a ghetto place. I don't
the
understand
country
it.
is done, bro. It's actually cooked.
It's such a ghetto place.
You can't come back from this shit. You can't just
No, you can't control that.
Yeah, it's tight.
You got to escape that, bro.
They just had crackheads storming their capital. In there.
I've never heard that.
You can't just
tell did anyone listen to Biden's speech about what happened in the Capitol?
Oh, I hate that as well, bro. He was pandering to us hard.
The way that they talk about the US, I don't know if it's like, if they're delusional. Like, and I mean this like proper no disrespect. Like, are they actually delusional? When they say stuff like, he was like, the United States is a citadel of democracy and this and that and that and this, and like, they actually they think the United States is like this beacon of hope and peace in the world. Everywhere you've gone, there's been bloodshed everywhere. Your own people, your own country is actually a fourth world country.
Bro, it's not. But think of it like this.
I was really shocked.
Think of it like this. So over here, we're shocked that people believe in empire and how good it was. They only hear that a couple of times a year in school. Over there, every single day, from when you're a baby to when you leave fucking high school at 18, you do the Pledge of Allegiance. Every day you pledge to give your life to your country. It's the greatest country in the world and all this. And they seem like people around the world think, oh, that's not going to have any influence. This is why they're sickers. They literally believe, they have to die for their country. If you're not willing to die for your country, then you ain't shit. And that is a wild, because I will calmly say, I'm not ready to die for this still. I'll die for my fam. For the Queen? Nah, not me, brother.
The Queen?
Yeah, Charles, you can't see me talking about this is for Charles. Never on your life, big man. Not on your life. Oh, they could have to swam me to his head. Talk about if you don't step in front of this, we're shooting him. Boy, you're gonna have to go, Charles. I'm afraid. Shit. You had a good life. You had a long one still. All that. But yeah, for them, they're ready with it. Even in the films, you see all the films. They're ready to die for their country. The president dive in front of bullets. Bro, who's diving in front of a swammy for Boris?
Yeah, trust.
Bro, I wouldn't even
even just seeing the flag. Yeah. Even just seeing the flag, you see the flag everywhere. In England, I hardly even see the flag. I'm trying to even forget what it looks like.
And if you do, you know what time it is still.
I swear it does.
You know exactly what
time it is.
You know, innit?
Couple skinheads back from my corner, bruv.
They're the kind of man that say coloured still.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yo.
Yeah, they're indoctrinated on the mad one.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. So this is going to go completely left. Because you can't imagine an America that is openly second to China or anyone else. But it's going to happen. China's on its way. So what happens then? What happens when America is like unequivocally second to China?
Probably start a war.
They have to. Because they have nothing. I have nothing left, Ian Belting, because that is all they have. is when everyone said you're a shit country with shit morals, they said, yeah, but we run the world. If you take that running the world off the table, they're just a shit country. That is mad. So they have to just done the world. They have to done the whole thing. That's the only way they can go out strong. Just done everything, done the dance.
Yeah, I'm sick. I'm sick. It's like, you see racists, yeah? They're like cockroaches. Like, you kill one, cockroaches can survive like a nuclear bomb.
Oh, they can survive in their head. They only die because they dehydrate.
They can survive a nuclear bomb. They're the only animals. They're one of the only organisms that can survive a nuclear bomb. But then you kill one, and then they still come in hordes. They come out of nowhere, and they just don't stop coming. It's like, you feel like you can educate them. It's like, at one point, you're exhausted.
Yeah.
You're exhausted. Like, I don't know if you know about Tommy Laren. I think her name is Laren.
Oh, yeah.
She's like,
Tommy Laren, yeah.
She loves us Trump, and she's so problematic.
Okay.
And I would think she's a smart person, but she's just dumb. She's just ignorant.
Yeah.
And I would have thought that with this whole thing with Capitol Hill, whatever, that she would have said something like, yeah, this is a bit mad. But she's been back in it. I'm thinking, you lot are wedded. You're wedded to this fuck.
How do you feel on that now that we're here? How do you feel on the fact that time ago, what's his name? Charlemagne interviewed her. And everyone
I
remember that. I remember that.
And all these things.
They called him a coon.
Yeah. Do you think that we need to try and understand these people in any shape or form, or do you think? Because I think they should. I think he was right because the interview was decent.
I think he was right.
But he.
No, I agree.
Yeah, he held mad corn for that, which was quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I agree. I think that, like the same way Corbyn said one time that we shouldn't just, not understand the IRA, we should actually have a conversation with them. They branded him a flipping terrorist.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to be able to have dialogue with these people. Like not to understand them. It's to see. Not really understand them, but it's to understand what they think and why they think that way.
Yeah. How can we find some way to resolve this without having to
also to raise awareness on other people who've never heard of this person, what they're thinking, and that these people exist, and these people are prominent, and these people have these views, and you should be careful. Like, I don't think there was anything wrong with that. And also, the Breakfast Club isn't a black thing. Like, it's the hosts are whatever, but it's not like, I don't think he was wrong to do that at all.
I don't know if anyone saw, this was like a few years ago, there's one black brother called Daryl Davis, in America. He basically is mad. Like, he done a TED talk on how he basically befriended the president of the KKK, and he, it's mad. Like,
he's black.
Basically, the brother's black, but he somehow befriended the president of the KKK in, like, to the point where the brother stepped down because their friendship was so tight and the conversations that they had, it made them see sense, basically.
It's like the Boondocks.
It's mad. And there's actual pictures of them that, like, he says, like, you invited them to his house, and he was, the way he would talk about other black people is still mad. But then when he's talking about his friend, it's like, oh, not you though, but them kind of thing.
I don't get that.
Like, I don't get it at all. But it's like, it's a weird. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know if it's like they can't. It's like they've gone so far, so they can't even backtrack type thing. So it's like they have to still uphold this thing, even though some can maybe see that it's nonsense. I don't know. I don't even know what it is, man. But
no, it must be part of that, though, isn't it? Because after a certain point, if you then say that race isn't a factor like that you should ruin someone's life over, then what do you have left? You built your whole life around saying that blacks are inferior and all this, and they don't deserve work, and all they like is crime and this, that, and the third. Then if you take that off the table, you're living for nothing else. It's tight.
Yeah,
you have to commit to it now. till you die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a tight thing to realize.
But in a way, I think, you know, that thing of how, like, I don't know, if, like, you kind of, you know, like, say, I don't know, someone in the Asian community, like someone from India or Pakistan, the way that they kind of deal with their whole family structure is the family is embedded in everything that you do.
Yeah.
So it's similar to how, like, you know, with certain people that are racist, because they have a community. Well, you know, a lot, looking at like America, for example, it seems like the KKK, even, like, they're a crew, innit? They're a clan. So if
quite
you were
literally
to step out, then you know, your clan are going to look at you sideways, even to the point you could get killed. You know what I mean? So it's almost like a family type thing where it's embedded in everything that you do, that when you step out and you kind of don't want to be a part of it, then it's, you know, it's hazardous, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you start wondering if it's worth it.
Yeah, man. Exactly. You just keep swimming and then you keep safe. It's nice.
We end up where we are now.
Okay.
But yeah, anyone else? Any topics? Kenny, you got a topic?
Yeah. It's like, we just jumped into 2021. New year, new you. You know, all that stuff. Joking, all that stuff. Time is just. But obviously, you know, something that I was reading about and seeing a lot of social media and stuff is like diet culture, and how, you know, it can be quite problematic in the sense of every year we have, you know, okay, new year, go to the gym, get health, lose weight. Well, the narrative usually is go to the gym, lose weight, look a certain way, be a certain way. And just for me to explain to people listening what diet culture is kind of like, this, it really stems from like this belief that you need to be thin by any means necessary. And so, especially if you're plus size or bigger, that is your inherent goal, to be thin. If you are going to exercise or go to the gym, it's because you want to be thin and that you should be thin. And I find that, it encourages like extreme weight loss, restricting yourself, cutting calories in very problematic ways, and is always usually kind of like thought about during the beginning of the year. You know, you've had all this stuff for Christmas, now you've got to jump in the gym and lose. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And I think it's very problematic, and it's something that I want to talk about because we are in a pandemic as well. So not only are we going through extreme stress and extreme uncertainty, you know, and extreme hardship. A lot of people are in extreme hardship. On top of that, we have now diet culture, which is now even more unattainable because gyms are not even open. You can't really even be outside too tough. It's not you can be outside with people training, you can't really do that. And so, yeah, I was thinking about all of that and just thinking about like body dysmorphia and how I want to ask you guys, because you guys are guys, and usually when it comes to these type of conversations, it's often led by women, often women-centered. But have you guys ever dealt with body dysmorphia or feeling like your body was never good enough when in actuality people loved off your body, or feeling like you were too thin or too big or not big enough or not thin enough? I just wanted to ask you two, because of guys, I would say for me, just to open, that I think I have dealt with body dysmorphia probably like all my life. I think when I was a child, and it's not really something I even really talk about because I just feel really awkward about it. But I think when I was growing up, I was like a chubby kid. Like I was just normal, just chubby. So when I was growing up, I was a normal kid. Like I wasn't thin or like, you know, super big. I was just normal, like just athletic looking. I did a lot of sports and stuff, and I had a lot of like family friends or maybe even like extended family that would make, little comments like, oh yeah, you should eat a bit more, you should just be a bit bigger, like stuff like that. And I think when you're young, you're very impressionable. And so those comments, I used to be like, okay, it was like, you're annoying.
Yeah.
Like, why do you keep saying that? But I internalized it. Shit, I internalized it. And my dad, thank God for him, he would always say to me, don't listen to anyone. You're perfect where you are, like you're calm. Like, don't worry about eating, none of that. Just enjoy life. But you do internalize those things. And when you get older, secondary school, I was just a thin kid. Like I was just slim. Like I was the slimmest. Then I got older, and I think because I think I struggled to gain weight. I did have body dysmorphia because I never felt comfortable in my body. Because you have one side of black culture saying that you've got to be thick, you've got to have a bum, you've got to be this. And even within African culture, there is that side of African culture that is like, as a woman, you should be big, like even plus size. Like, and being plus size is not like a negative thing, but almost pushing women to be unhealthy in the desire that if you look a certain way, it's reflective of like your economical status, because you can eat, you can afford food. Like that's the culture. You can afford food. You can your husband feed you well. So I know a lot of people that their dads would force them to eat when they didn't want to, just so that they can uphold the ideal. And I think growing up and being slim, and then you get to an age where you're starting to interact with males, and then there's that narrative perpetuated. I did feel very insecure around body. And then even when I started going gym, I started gaining weight. I still had the body dysmorphia because it's like I would look in the mirror and people would be like, "Oh my God, like you've made so much gains," and I would think, "No, but this is not good enough. Like I still feel skinny." Do you know what I mean? I think it's mad. It's mad how body dysmorphia like messes with your brain because you actually can't see what's in the mirror. Like you're not ever happy. And thousands of people can that talk about your body and say, "No, but you're fine." But you have internalized a magazine that you can't actually see it. And I never really deeped it to be body dysmorphia until I listened to a podcast about a guy who was talking about his experience with body dysmorphia, and he's always been like a little bit bigger, and he started going gym, and he's like, "Bro, like I'm from the end." I didn't even know what body dysmorphia was until I read about it, and I was like, "Wow, this is me," and that's when it clicked that, wow, okay, so this was body dysmorphia. But I think now I have a healthy relationship with my body and with food in general, so that's not really an issue now. But I do think it's very important to talk about, and so I'm going to open the floor to you to share and to whatever.
I think this is like a big topic, and I think like, I guess I appreciate you opening up and saying that, because I think a lot of people are still dealing with with that, and it could be seen as a taboo, and I don't want to speak about it. It's very sensitive. It is a very sensitive subject. But I think like for me, I was, especially like growing up, I was like very slim, and similar thing, like a lot of like family members and few like friends, or just growing up generally, people say, "Oh yeah, you need to eat more, man." It's not something I ever took on though.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I would hear it and it would just go in one ear and come out the other. So, but I think I don't know if it was to do with like a quote unquote midlife crisis, or just I don't know. But like very recently, I'd say probably from last year. Yeah, from like last year, like September, I think that was like probably a bit of a turning point where I gained a bit more weight.
Yeah.
And I think that like gained a bit more weight and just kind of let myself go in terms of not really taking pride in how I look, I would say, as much as I used to. And I think that had to do with that was around the time when I moved out, like my niece passed like got murdered around that time. A lot of stuff like kind of happened in that year. So I think, you know, a lot of that wasn't really my focal point almost. You know, and I had a lot more focus on kind of preparing the family. That year, you know, I found out I was having a second child. You know? So there's a lot of different stuff that kind of made me kind of, I guess, overlook myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, so maybe the whole aspect of dysmorphia, or just a bit of
not being comfortable with your skin kind of thing.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Because even to a point where, you know, there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of clothes that I have that, you know, I'm thinking it's either I work out a lot more to kind of get that so that I can fit in them, or I just get a whole new wardrobe type thing. So even to that point, I'm thinking, like, what, you know, the decision that I need to make, that thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, but it's definitely that yeah, it's been an emerging topic, you know, obvious for me. So, yeah.
That's so interesting. Thanks for sharing that.
It's all good. Over here, man. So, what are you saying?
No, for me, when I was younger, it was a similar thing. People used to always make comments about you should eat more, ratata. But then it only manifested in, you ever see me between like all the way up until like 18, 19, I never wore shorts. Like, no matter how hot it was, I'd never wear shorts because of my legs, they're a bit mager. But then I was like, fuck it. Like, my legs they're not going to get any bigger than this, bro. This is it. I'm 20 years in, or whatever it is. I'm not growing. Like, there's no growth spurt to be looking forward to. This is it. So either never wearing shorts in my life, or I'm just going to have to firm it. Slap shorts on, and no one cared. No one looked twice.
Man, never look back.
Yeah, now I wear shorts. Like, it's more of a
all the time.
Yeah, all the time. But it's of a affirmation thing. Because there was a time when I didn't. So now, if you wear them all the time, it's like, bro, you can't tell me nothing, bro.
What helped you get to that stage where you were like, you know what, fun this, man? Was there something in particular that you kind of tried to do for yourself, like positive affirmations, or was it about, you know what?
It's like a positive affirmation. This is me, innit? This is how it is. Like, once you, like, it's obviously peak at first. When you first have the realization that this is it, this shit ain't changing. This is your body. Like, there's what's the word? There's plus or minus a little bit. You might go up a stone, down a stone, but you're not gonna put on 4 or 5 stone and look like The Rock. Like, this is it. Like, I'm committed to this body now, so I have to make the most of it. So then you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna wear this, I'm gonna wear that. If I want to wear it and I can afford it, I'm gonna wear it. Can't tell me, oh, you can't wear that, you're a bit skinny for that. And no. Well, I want to wear it, wearing it. And from there, you don't look back. And then in the process of doing so, you realize that bare people are self-conscious. So most people, most people see you, and then it boosts them. And so
it's so true.
There's like a saying, I can't remember what it is now. It's something like, by shining as you're supposed to, you encourage others to shine too, or something like that. I can't remember the exact quote, but it's reality. Like, even like in my circle, I have people that, so whoever in my circle does something, it like encourages you could do it as well. So I have people that have lived abroad, and then when it was my turn to go abroad, I'm like, well, if so-and-so can do it, then I can do it, man. I'm no different to so-and-so. Or there's people that do whatever, big jobs, big career path. I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it, man. I can apply for XYZ job and get it and be calm. And so it's like that. You're just supposed to use people around you to encourage you. And so sometimes you're that encouragement, though. Sometimes it's you that people are calling out, like, oh, he can wear shorts. I'm wearing shorts, bro.
I can wear shorts. 100%.
So it's one of them ones. Sometimes you have to just, people aren't going to say it to you necessarily, because they just assume that you're calm.
your normal, right?
Yeah, sometimes you have to just dive off the deep end and just live.
I think
you know
for me as well.
Sorry, go on.
No, you can go. It's fine.
There's something around like the whole thing of being able to just be an individual, so that not even for the intention of other people to see you, but just so that you are an individual to do what you want to do, dress how you want to dress, listen to the type of music you want to listen to, as opposed to kind of following the status quo almost, and
following the crowd,
just being like in that hub of other people that are the same. Like, it's mad. Like, I think like before the lockdown, I was having, and like for a good few years, I really didn't like the way fashion was going. Like, with clothing, it just looked all the same. People rocking the same things, the same. I was like, it's boring to see. It's so boring. Like, I was racking my brain thinking, how can people like dress basically the same? Like, I'm seeing twin triplets that don't look anything alike, but look alike in how they dress. It's mad. It's mad. Like, I'm thinking it's, you need to, for me anyway, like, I've always been someone that kind of steers away from what's in, or what's the norm, or whatever.
Big fact.
Especially when it comes to clothing. Do you know what I mean?
Remember you were the first one rocking the Toms. The first male I saw
rocking. Come on, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
My guy Rem, from day.
Yeah, trust. So man, like, I think it's important to just to step out, man, because you never know. And even when it comes to like creativity and the work that you do, like you're saying, man, the work that you do, and even for me, when I write, or when I submit poetry or whatever, it's important to kind of do that, because you don't know who else. Like, there's a saying that says, like, once you perform or your work, or once you produce like a film or whatever, and you put it out, the work's not yours anymore, because everyone else is absorbing it and interpreting it for what they think it is. Yeah, and that's how it should be. You know what I mean? Everyone's going to take something different out of one piece of work. Yeah, and that's how it should be, man.
100%. Yeah. I think me, ways that helped me kind of come out of that whole thing was, there was a time as well, like, I didn't wear, like, this was when I was younger though, like 15, like I didn't like wearing t-shirts. Maybe, I don't know what, I wouldn't wear t-shirts because I didn't like my arms. I think even sometimes, like nowadays, I fancy you dominate. I'll be like, oh, I don't like my arms that much, but I'm getting over it. But I think, but me going to the gym was definitely like a big confidence booster for me. Like, it made me feel strong, firstly. Like, it made me feel fit and healthy. And also, obviously, like, your body changes in front of you. So it's like, wow, like, I'm actually seeing changes. It motivates you to be a little bit more in control when you feel like you're not in control. So going gym was definitely something for me that was, like, astronomical in terms of, like, my self-confidence and, like, my relationship with my body. But I think I had at that moment where you're like, you know what, like, if I could have whatever, bad body, whatever, I'd still be really unhappy. And so I kind of was like, I've got to actually maybe work more internally to try and actually deal with the stuff internally that makes me feel this way, because that's going to then dictate me being happy regardless of whether I'm big, small, whatever. And so I kind of started working a bit more inward with kind of like how I would speak to myself in my mind and how I would look at my body, and just being more confident. Like, this is you, like, bro.
Yeah, introspection.
You are like, this is who you are. You've got to love who you are. People love you for who you are, so you love yourself. Like, just having to, like, this positive affirmation of that I think over time, because you actively do it, you get to a space where you just now start to like apply it to life, and then you just start not caring anymore. Because it's like, I don't want to live life always wearing like. I generally like wearing baggy clothes anyway because I'm a bit of a tomboy, but getting from a stage of wearing clothes because you're a tomboy versus wearing clothes because you're trying to cover yourself up if you're not confident, like that level of, all right, cool, let me just be me. Just be yourself. Like, people obviously like you who you are, so it's not really about what you look like. And in life, sometimes you can't really focus on what you look like too tough because your character is the most important thing. So I think just focusing on that, definitely, and also speaking to people as well, I think helps. But again, some people have body dysmorphia on a mad one. Like, I will not say that mine was on a mad one. I think I did have it, but it was just something that was a constant theme. It was manageable. Some people have it on a really like deep level, and I do think kind of being kind to yourself. Like, I feel like if other people could hear your inner voice, they probably would be like, wow, like that's the meanest voice I've ever heard in my life. Like, I think we have to actually kind of deep that we're quite harsh and mean to ourselves. Yeah. Like just apply a bit more love to yourself. And that sounds corny, but try and apply it. Affirmations when you feel low. Like, you might not feel happy, but you have to like actually speak out affirmations that I am happy. Like, you actually have to say it because it does impact you. You don't feel it in the moment, but more time emotions are not an accurate indicator of what you're feeling or who you are. Like, so I think dealing it in that way over time, you will get to a stage where you just start feeling more confident, a little bit more carefree. And ultimately, like, it's just a shell, man. This body's just a shell. As long as you're healthy and you're not ill and you're not making yourself unhealthy in any way, love yourself.
What do you think about the people that are doing that? So that, obviously, as we know, it's a growing trend now. People are risking it all to get the bum implants and the BBLs and this and the third. Like, obviously, they're saying it's not for anyone else, it's for them, and it makes them feel a lot better about themselves. But do you think that it's something that is sustainable? Like, do you think that if you get BBL at 20, for example, that by 40 you're not gonna want anything else done? And stuff like that.
I don't think it's sustainable at all. I think it's even like a domino effect. I think there's something extremely unhealthy about social media culture in regards to our bodies and what is the norm and what's acceptable, and what's pushed to people. And I think that, you know, there isn't much information as well. People just see these new bodies and think, okay, well, I want to get it. People are not, these guys are not telling you that they're leaking from their bodies. They're not telling you that they can't sit down. They're not telling you that you know, they're getting lumps and their body's swelling and they're in A&E every other day. They're not telling you. So there's a lack of information in regards to the realness of the process of this. If you want to get surgery, brother, get surgery in it. I don't advocate surgery personally because I don't think you should go under the knife unless it's a health issue. But you can generally die from these things. I think the lack of information is what is not making it sustainable, because girls are not going in fully with all the facts or all of the pros and cons. I think if they knew the pros and cons, perhaps they would pause and maybe do something else. But they're not having that. So it's not sustainable in that way, because they get it and now they have this. If they've gone to a surgeon in Turkey who's never operated on a human being, he's a vet, and he gives you implants. This is real life. He gives you implants, and now you're leaking and you're struggling, and it's poisoning your blood, and you know you've got health issues. It's unsustainable. And I also think getting surgery at such a young age before you've had children, it doesn't make any sense, because your body changes dramatically after childbirth, and so it's like, for you to get surgery before having a kid, it now means that you set precedent for you to always now have to have surgery to maintain that body, because after pregnancy, the body's going to be a totally different body. You're going to have to get surgery again, and it's not sustainable, man. It's not sustainable. I think a lot of things play into it as well, like being able to afford it. People go into these other countries and risking health standards to get surgery because they want to be able to get it. It's not sustainable. It's not healthy. And I think women are really risking their lives or an image that what people are not even too happy with behind closed doors. So, yeah.
Just before we go on to Remo, I want to see what Remo wants to say. I want to say it's one of them ones where it seems high risk, innit? It's like, you get, let's say like this year you get BBL now, it looks legit, 30. 10 years down the line, the trend changes back to looking like Aaliyah and them kind of people. You're right. Now you're an artificially curvaceous thing. That's not in.
Yeah. That's a real thing that it's probably gonna happen.
Yeah. Because don't forget, when you look back at even what was it, like early 2000s, when you look at like Romeo Must Die and them things, and you see Aaliyah, Marga, but she was a sex symbol.
Yeah.
Super Marga. Yeah. You can't say there was curves, there was no body, there was no breasts, but the sex symbol still. So
right, absolutely.
If you put now today's sex symbols, like if you put Beyonce in that day, she'd have looked large and in charge.
Yeah. It's true.
Which is mad.
But the things like our culture changes all the time, and like what's in changes all the time. That's the issue with diet culture as well, because these things change all the time. So these young things, 18, 19, 20, flying out, getting a BBL doesn't really necessarily look natural, and then all of a sudden, in maybe 2 years, all the slim things are in, and if you're an influencer, if your job is, you have to use your aesthetics.
Yeah.
You're 22 with a body that you now don't want anymore. Do you get where it's going? It's long.
Yeah. No refunds.
Well, I think first of all, this whole thing of getting a job done that is for yourself is utter bullshit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What you we all know, yeah. All right, cool. Let's kind of take it back to clothes, yeah. All right, there may be a pair of Jordans that I like, yeah. But like, is there anything that you like? Is everything you like you must wear or you must buy? Of course not. Like, there's something you can admire from afar. You don't have to wear those pair of Jordans. It's only because, bearing in mind, if you're looking at what £200 price tag for them for or thereabouts for a pair of Jordans. So the price tag is high. The percentage of wanting it for yourself as opposed to being revered for it is, the ratio is probably going to favor in want to be revered for it and looking good and wearing it as opposed to wanting it for yourself. If we really face the fact, so I think this whole thing of getting work done for yourself is nonsense. I can understand if you're kind of doing it for like medical reasons or I guess a little bit like MJ, whether if it was real or not. Obviously, he had with Eligo, he said he had something like that. That's why he had to get surgery done.
Yeah.
So, for example, with that, I can understand if that's real, that is. But other than that, nonsense, man. I think the whole thing of kind of being swayed, or as trends are always going to change, isn't it? So I think we have to keep rooted, man, in what it is that you kind of stand for in a way, because if you keep deciding, okay, yeah, I'm changing. I guess there's no problem in changing trends, but when it's your body, innit? Like you can't really
be doing too much.
Yeah, you can't, man. It's like
the body takes a battering, man.
That's what I'm saying. Even like with tattoos or piercing, well, piercing's different, but tattoos, implants, you can't really decide, yeah, I'm gonna have a sleeve tattoo, and then 5 years down the line, the trend changes to having, I don't know, a different type of tattoo. You can't I guess you can't laser it, but you know, it's your body, isn't it?
Yeah.
How much are you gonna let your body go through to kind of keep up with the times? It's I don't know, man. I think.
I also think just to add on, I think that even what we've been talking about with like trends and we it's all we all sort of accept right now that there is a look that's in fashion, which is a thicker look, more curvaceous look. But that's quite crazy, like from the beginning, that there's a look. Like with a world of whatever, 8 million, 7 million, billion people, and there's a look that's in trend, which obviously isn't realistic. There will be men that like really, really heavy women. There'll be men that like really, really skinny women. There'll be men that like tall women. Men that like short women. Men that like women that look like bodybuilders. But everything will be liked. But yet we're told that this is
what you need to look like.
Yeah, this is what the look is. It's even like going off topic, but even if there's this viral post that was going around a while ago now, but it pops up like every now and again, and essentially it's some woman, very attractive, blah blah. She's talking about like I had self-confidence issues and rear-tear and blah 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 growing up. And she says, then I met my husband, or this guy, and then he became my husband, and we've been great together. We married X amount of years, 7 years or whatever it was. You find out that she's 5'11" and he's 5'5".
Wow.
She's like, it don't make no issue for me, and he treat me good. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, yeah, he treats me really well, better than everyone else. He's really good to my needs, and I've never had an issue with it. I don't feel any type of way. But society says, yeah, I mean, this shouldn't run. And it's true. Like, society does say that that's a madness, but in reality, why not? They would rather you be with some man that's toxic but is 6 foot so that you feel a bit smaller than a 5'5" don that treats you exactly how you need to be treated for your mental and everything well-being. Like, it's quite wild.
Here's the thing: our generation is now so focused on things that don't matter, how people look, rather than the character of people. Like, we're so focused on superficial stuff, very materialistic. Like things, everything like glitters and looks good. That's what we want. But truly, the stuff that really lasts the test of time, that's like has longevity, which is like people's character and like good health and all these other things that are actually important in life. They're not really the things that are promoted, and so that's why you'll see this emergence of that popular culture that is just so like wayward. You know what I mean? And I think, and I think it's tight because every generation has that of that. What's popular culture is necessarily what's the best thing. But I think because of social media and just because of access of just so much info, we're now seeing it on a madness. So it's like you just see one type of look, one type of aesthetic, one type of value system, and that's what we're seeing. And
I think it's the scumbaggery of social media as well, though. Because like even back in the day, when there was a look, like there was like pin-up, if you heard of like pin-up models, so there was like people that used to be posters.
Page 2 and that.
Yeah, but even in those days, you would like date someone that you liked that looked nothing like that, but she was yours or he was yours, and there was no one close enough to you that would say something disrespectful.
Like that.
No, there would be no one close enough to you to say something disrespectful. Whereas now, you post your girl and she's overweight or she's this or she's that. Oh, someone in the comments will actually put a magazine. And like they're just a random, get me Billy Bob 902115, but you get me, that just puts a little seed in your head, and now you're like, Bob, either I'm never gonna post her again, which is mad. Like, this is really like uncomfortable. Like, how could I be with someone I don't want to post them? Or you start looking at her different, like, yo, maybe he's right.
Maybe you should,
And it's tight. Like, that's the whole impact of social media that gives people reach when these people are just trolls, bro, just scumbags. But once that seed's in your head, tight.
And also, like,
alright, so go on. I'll be after you.
Do you know back in the day with like page 2 models and stuff?
Page 3.
I never used page 3. Sorry, when we were growing up, like college time, or like secondary school, late secondary, like year 11, college. I don't know about you lot, but I never knew or had anyone in my close proximity that had surgery. Surgery was like a big thing.
Oh, yeah. Surgery is a big
thing. If you
get
surgery, you had to be teasing because nobody was flying abroad. You were going Hardy Street.
Bro, don't you remember how big Jordan was when she got her tits?
Exactly.
Exactly.
It was like, I didn't know anyone that would even contemplate it or was even thinking about it because it was just so not accessible. But now, every man's gone Turkey. Hardy Street surgery is like 10 bags. In Turkey, 3 bags. Because you can save your student loan, go and get a surgery, and look like a different person. And it's like, oh, wow, well, you did that, I'm going to do that. Save up your salary. It's all accessible.
People sharing the best surgeons. Like it's fucking reviews, Amazon reviews. Oh, this surgeon's 30, done my nose. What? It's not a joke.
He done my nose.
Bro, this isn't...
Just that term, he done my nose.
Bro, this is a magazine. Yeah, man.
I feel like we shouldn't, I don't know, I feel like when it comes to like stuff like breast reductions and them things there that impact your life, that make your life really different and it's uncomfortable, I understand why you'd want to get a breast reduction. I get that.
Go on, run around with 34 double Z or something.
I get it. I know a lot of women who are contemplating doing that because it's a lot. But I think when it comes to like frivolous things that you just do to keep up with the times, I think we've got to really look deeper and be like, wow, is it really that deep?
Well, on that, while we're here, because you just prompted me, I'm gonna let Rem go afterwards. But it is pounded into specifically women in social, like in societal things. Because like even if you look at music, because of what you said, if you think about the Drake lyric, bro, I pay to make it bigger, I don't pay for no reduction. It's a magazine. It makes people think like, yeah, reduction is only like that's a negative. Where it could completely change a woman's life. Some women with breasts that are so large, it impacts them being able to run. They can't jog. They can't do this. They can't sit certain angles. Like their whole life. The whole life is actually rattled because of this. It's not just a fashion thing to get the reduction. It's actually going to improve their entire quality of life. But the way it's looked at is like, why are you making it smaller for? That's a magazine, bro. You got great breasts. Like, so yeah, it's a bit mad still. But go on, Rem.
No, I was gonna say change the topic, but the whole thing of posting on social media, I guess more posting of yourself. For me, I've always since Facebook kind of thing. Where I think I've always kind of that's always been in the back of my mind. Like whenever I don't post myself anymore. More like post like photography or products or whatever.
Yeah.
But now when I see people posting themselves, kind of like the same conversation we just having. Like who is it for? Like, are we posting for ourselves, or are we posting to for us to get right? Are we posting like, I don't know, I just think it's a weird concept to post yourself, like when you think about who exactly it is that you're doing it for. I don't know, I was just kind of putting it out there. Like, I think that's what you guys think of.
No, yeah, because I was having this conversation with one of my friends the other day. Literally, there's someone we know, like me and my friend, as a mutual, and she was clearly having a breakdown in slow motion on the timeline.
Wow.
Just like you could just tell by the post that it was just, they were getting more and more outlandish. Yeah, it was like,
so who was this?
Someone on the timeline. I'm not gonna say the name because it's but someone we all know, sort of thing. Are
they like a public figure?
No. It's just like friend of a friend sort of thing. But so it was just like you could see them breaking down in front of your eyes, like in slow motion, like week after week after week. And then like it got more and more outlandish to try and secure the same amount of likes. Because what you notice is a certain picture doesn't gather the same likes if you've seen it before. You need to see something madder the next time. sort of like drugs. You need something madder to get the same impact as you become more like used to it. So it just became worse and worse and worse and worse until eventually they dipped off and straight up said like, this isn't good for mental health, blah blah blah. Like, I've been seeing a change in me, and ratata, they kind of just actively said, yeah, like, this social media thing has been rattling me. But it's like you could see it, and it's like a lot of people are posting for others, like they want that feeling of, you know what I mean, people like me, and it's like a downward spiral because you need to do more and more and more to get the same amount of likes, and eventually either you do too much and you implode, or I mean, you crack.
Yeah, you crack under pressure, right?
It never ends well when you're trying to get likes from other people, and that's where your main focus is.
It's peak.
But don't forget, that's a whole career path. Like, if you want to be an influencer, you have to be focused on the likes. Okay, I got 100 likes this week. How do I get 1,000 likes next week? Because I need to do 1,000 likes to get
current, isn't it?
Yeah, to be current. But you also need the likes so that you can get spotted by companies. Yeah, so you can get like financial like that. And so it becomes a whole life on how do you get the likes? What do I have to do to get this amount of likes so I can get this amount of pay? I need to pay my bills, and there's always someone trying to come up behind you, and it's a dark industry.
It's tight, and it's like kind of a new industry as well. So it's like everyone
regulation.
is learning on the go. Yeah, and
exactly.
It's problematic, man, because we're in it actually, and this is what it all ties down to, like Corona, because we're in a pandemic.
Yeah.
So as well as some of these brands ain't got 9 to 5, man. This is their grind. So for them to get social endurance is an investment in their career. Like, and so the pressure of not knowing where your income's coming from, having to pay rent, mortgage, whatever, in a pandemic, and mental health as well as that. You're eating a lot, or you're unhappy, and you're not feeling confident in yourself. All of these things are just like boosted by us being in quarantine, and I think that we should just take time, like to really just take time and be nice and kind to ourselves, because everyone is just trying to survive right now, and it's really, it's really just scary.
You just sparked my mind. We're gone.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. I think we should just really take time to just be kind and just take it easy, because again, some people don't have that luxury because you're in survival mode. But I think
fighting to keep your head above water.
We are a lot of us are literally surviving. So, yeah.
No, what I wanted to say was, I think it'd be quite mad because due to this pandemic, people are going to like not be able to pay their mortgage and not be able to pay their rent, and it's a known fact through studies and such that being homeless takes years off your life. Like literally, it lowers your life expectancy if you've been or are homeless, and that's literally what we're looking at now. We're looking at a larger number of people that are going to be homeless, because people automatically think that homeless means like you're just sleeping outside Euston Station in a tent. But like homeless people are also people that are doing sofa surfing. So you just like bounce between whoever they can. They can sleep in their car. That's still homeless, you're sleeping in your car. But when you think of homeless, people don't think of that. And so there's a whole heap of what they call uncounted homeless. These are people that don't say they're homeless either. You'll see them at work and they have their clothes on and they look normal. But when they leave, they go to jump in their car and they find somewhere to pull up. That's where they sleep. They might shower in the gym and all these kind of things. And those people are still, they're limited as well. Their life is impacted by that because they're not able to cook the same amount of food. They're not allowed to get the same amount of nutrients. The stress that's there, you don't know where you're going to sleep each night. It all impacts you and reduces your life expectancy. And that is going to be like a scar on this country for a while if something's not done soon to alleviate it. But Yeah, it's quite sad to think, man. Like, it could literally happen to anyone, bro. Homelessness.
Anyone.
And it's sad to think that you could be somewhere where you're just shit out of luck. Like, you don't know where to turn. There's no one left. Your family's, whatever's happened, and you feel so alone that you're just sleeping in your car, bro. Or on the streets, on a bench. Like, it's, yeah, man. Sad, bro. It's tight.
We're definitely in a hard time. I think when we come out of COVID, out of this panoramic, it's always when in retrospect you can say, "Wow, did we really doing all that and under all that pressure and doing all of this?" You can only really think it after you come out of it. But I think a lot of us are under immense pressure from above and below, and yeah, it's not easy. And I think, you know, there are avenues for support as well. There are like organizations that you can call. And I think definitely researching what your resources are is like critical right now. And like just reaching out to your support network and making sure everyone's good. If people need assistance or people need just like, you know, help, like, because people are getting ill. Like, I had COVID.
Yeah.
You know, like if I didn't have my support network around me to deliver food to the yard, none of us could go out.
You'd have the podcast, keep your spirits up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Shout you out.
To have people to be able to come to the house and drop food off, like go to the pharmacy and stuff, like, you know, it's critical. So in the ways that each individual can do that for their neighbour,
it's quite mad.
Like, we've got to try.
Even during like this whole situation, the COVID situation, there's a really, really like big YouTuber in the like engineering sort of tech sort of side of things, huge, and basically he came forward and said that his younger brother committed suicide, and it's just it's really wild to think, because you would think, bro, your brother's one of the biggest, earns the most money, and you still were in a position where you thought the only way out was, and it's like, yeah, the money and all this won't save you if like like there could be other things that are going on behind the scenes, and it's tight. You feel like you're looking at certain people, you think you've got the life, bro. Like anything you want financially, it's yours. You need a yard, you don't have to worry about rent, blah, blah, blah. But still there was something there that, you know what I mean, it made man think that there was no way out at all. And it's worrying to think that, yeah, like you never know, man. People you look at that think, yeah, you have everything. You don't have to worry about you. And they're the prime example of the person you should be worrying about. It's stressful.
That's what I think. You know, that whole thing is like the person that always checks on you and always like gives you a shout out and gives you a pep talk. It's almost like who's giving them a pep talk, or who's checking on them. Because everyone, like, no matter how much you think of a person, no matter how strong you think a person is, everyone's got their limits. You know what I mean? And it's just so important just to shout out and just give a call or text to your people, anyone you haven't spoken to in a while. You know what I mean? You never know how far a checkup can go, you know?
Critical, man. Critical, honestly.
Yeah.
Some people are going weeks without speaking to no one, seeing no one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. Any other topics? A final topic. We're on a 1.5, 90 minutes. So just a quick one. Well, all right. What ones do you have? I've got a statement, but anyone else got anything else? We can still do the Caribbean thing, and the dating. We can slide that one in, and we can then slide in your one.
Yeah. Let's go.
You want to launch that, Kenny?
The one, what, the clubhouse thing?
Yeah.
So,
our resident iPhone user.
Oh yeah. Basically, there was a discussion on a clubhouse room, and the premise of the conversation was basically led by Caribbean women, and they were saying, let me read. There was a tweet as well.
The princesses.
Let me read the tweet out. Just a reference because it makes sense. definitely.
The Caribbean Queens.
All right, cool. So the tweet says this. It says, African men, if you have no intention / do not intend to pursue a Caribbean woman to be your wife or the mother of your children, unless you have made this known to her, stay in your lane. The exotic babe you want to have fun with before marrying what is accepted in your culture is also a human being. African men that do this are just as bad as white women that want a black man to mix kids. Keep your fetishes to yourself. Hurting my good sisters for your little fantasy. Behave.
Jeez.
So, in the clubhouse room, the premise was that when they were mentioning African men, they were being quite specific and talking about West African men, i.e. Nigerian, Ghanaian, and then Caribbean. Obviously, a lot of people were referencing Jamaica, but I think it's general to say Caribbean in it. But I think obviously just to note that when they were mentioning it, they were talking about the main groups from these parts of the world. Yeah. But speaking to my good friends, my good sisters who are Caribbean, and me being Congolese myself, and West African culture being quite different from my culture, I can definitely see why. I can see it being a thing, and I think what I didn't like was I didn't like men, African girls or non-Caribbean girls, and men kind of like gaslighting Caribbean girls. Like that's their experience. You can't say that you experienced that. But that's what they've experienced. I've had a lot of girls come to me and say that they feel the African guys don't take them seriously, or they would never really like date them to marry them, or like actually like pursue them properly the way they would their African counterpart, because they feel that there is this lack of culture or lack of parenting that comes from being Caribbean that they wouldn't feel comfortable with bringing into their family home. Yeah. And I've heard that multiple times, and you know I've seen it as well, and I think it's a fair point to make. It's a fair point to make. I feel like sometimes you've got to actually sit down and actually deep is some of the things that we do are toxic to our own community. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know, man. It's a very I don't know how to tackle this, man. Yeah, being a quote unquote half breed.
Jeez. That sound like mouth. Mud blood. Well, go
on. I feel like, it definitely is like fetishizing, the idea of, like some African men who maybe haven't experienced, I guess sexually, haven't experienced being with someone that's from the Caribbean, but all they hear and see is dagger this and that, and they're thinking, you get me? So they're thinking,
ride it like a bicycle. Quinty.
And doing suplex off the speaker and that. So,
oh my gosh,
into splits.
So they're thinking, how can I get a piece of this? Like my people's gonna do this. So, and I think it's I don't know. I think it's just.
Do you think the culture clash? What do you think? Would you think one side of the specific culture is being promoted more, and that's all that they see, and they don't explore the other side?
Yeah.
Definitely that. Yeah, definitely that. Yeah.
This whole idea that like there's a possibility that Nigerian women aren't sexual would be wild. Like you couldn't say that. That would be a very mad. That'd be a very mad idea to even pretend to have. So it can only be that. The way they view is nuts. Like they view Caribbean women to be always sexual. Like they'll be in the doctor's surgery whining and that. Like it's nuts. It's like it's like you've taken one thing and then extrapolated it to be like they're like this all the time in every situation.
Yeah, but even to like that's if you think about it, that's a big assumption, you know.
That's a mad assumption.
Even if you see a woman winding up herself and doing this and doing that, that's a big assumption to say if she's doing that, then she must be good in bed. Or if she's doing that, then she must be sexually open to doing this. That's a big assumption, you know.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's mad.
Now that's it's a mad super generalization. But I think to back what you're saying, if you deep West where so Caribbean is also saying that West African men do this, yeah. If you deep the conservativeness of certain cultures, and this is not to say that there are not these aspects of whatever of this looseness, quote unquote, it's not my word, but you know the looseness that these people are attributing to Caribbean women, or this laxness or this freedom. That isn't to say that these things are not prevalent in their own home countries, but I think when you come and you bring it to a UK context, they're not seeing that. If it was back home, we're a different conversation because we're back home. There's everyone and everyone here. When you come to we're in the UK, we're not seeing that. Yeah. And so then if you and the culture is if it's quite conservative, that's not even something you're even seeing in your own culture. So for you, and that's a norm for you. So anything that's outside of that is like, wow, this is different. Like this is mad different. But really, it's not. It's just it's a cultural difference, culture clash.
Yeah.
You get it?
And to add on to that, it's a bit like I saw it said by someone as well on Twitter. They were like, it's because you haven't viewed the culture in its entirety. So like growing up, I would go to whatever it would be, a funeral, a wedding, this, that, and a birthday, and you'd see grandparents doing this little slow wine, little two-step, and you'd never look at your gran and be like, oh, that's sexy, that is, oh, go on. Like, it was just dancing, innit? So there was times when it would be sexual if someone was putting that forward, they wanted it to be like that, but you could also be winding your waist and it's just dancing. So when you're actually immersed in this culture, whining and that kind of dancing isn't always sexual. Same way if you go to like Morocco and them places, doing the belly dancing isn't, yeah, she wants me, she does. Yeah, exactly. That's a style of dancing. And it's like to jump to this conclusion that all Caribbean women just wanna sex everything because they whine.
They like to whine.
And then even there was another really prominent Caribbean journalist that I follow on Twitter, and she was just like, bro, even the idea that all Caribbean women can whine is nuts. She was like, she could barely just about get by.
Exactly. But there you go.
This idea that we're all like these masterful, get me, our hips are just, get me, liquid.
We're dancing when they're walking down the road.
Yeah. Like, there's a bear that just got 2 left feet. Like,
what would you say to guys who said that when they were growing up, they never saw that entirety, that the whole holistic, view of Caribbean culture in regards to seeing the different aspects of it? They just saw the dancehall queen aspect. And what would you say to those guys who say, well, when I was growing up, I did engage in that because I never saw the other side. I just saw these girls who were on having a good time, and we was all in a rave together. They were the only girls that was really doing the thing. So what would you say to them, to guys like that who...
I'll say it's time to start asking your Caribbean mates some questions. Start actually asking about the culture. Ask them a little simple question. What would say? Put me on to some reggae that's not sexual. Well, reggae as an art form, like the whole Roots spin-off, is all about political struggle. Is all about black liberation. In fact, they'll repeatedly say we're not in this whole sexual business. We don't hear nothing about the pum and wine up and everything there. We talk about,
like reggae is my favorite genre, and when people say that Caribbean music is inherently vulgar, I'm just like, are you guys okay, or are you okay? Like, there's not just dancehall. There's zouk. There's so much, man. There's soca. There's so much. There's roots. There's so much that is available, but it's what you want to be privy to.
Yeah.
Because more times, if just say that you like that music.
Mm-hmm.
Just say that you like it just say you like it. Don't make it out like that's what's only available.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
How you feeling,
But
man?
yeah, I think it's tight in it because nobody wants to be making super generalizations, and I think again saying that all African men do that is a super generalization as well. Like I don't think it's fair to say that, and I also think it's not fair for African men to say that Caribbean girls are not this or not that, not this, not that. I mean, they've really colonized our minds, man. Like for us to even be having this conversation, it's quite ghetto to me because it's like
it's constantly coming up as well.
As a black group of people, we're not a monolith. We're not all the same. The cultural differences and context of the Caribbean, and the historical stuff that happened there versus what happened in Africa versus what happened. How we now digest that information and how we deal with it and how that plays out when we come to the Western world, all impacts our culture. And I think
100%.
I just hate these cultures. Like these conversations, they all come up every 3-6 months about African. It's like it's long. Like at the end of the day, you have to understand that we all did engage. Let's not say all, but a lot of us did engage in some kind of anti-black or divisive type of every growing up, whether that was colorism, whether that was African versus Caribbean, whether that was all kinds of stuff. We did engage in it some way, somehow. I think to get to this stage now, I think it's important to have conversations openly and be like, yeah, well, this did happen, it still happened. Like, guys, be aware. I think that's all Caribbean girls want to say. Like, just be aware that this is how it feels and this is what happened.
Yeah.
And we're just telling you that be mindful if that is what you're on. If you are only doing a Caribbean girl because you want to have some fun and you don't want to marry her, let that be known from the beginning.
She might be down.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, just let her know. But I think, I think people get defensive and stuff because, like, kind of like, you're talking about certain countries getting at it and stuff. I can understand why people are a bit like, trying to back it and say, well, no, these guys are this, but bro, at the end of the day, these things have happened.
Yeah.
These things have happened and they do continue to happen. And you can't say, well, you shouldn't be dating these the demons or these type of people because you're making bad dating choices when it's like a cultural narrative. So it's tight, man. It's tight.
Yeah. I think like even this you know what? It's mad. Like when you actually think about, there's even just like words that we use to phrase certain things. Like there's even like a few comedy shows about was it Jamaica versus Africa. Even that. That's very ignorant. Jamaica versus Africa.
That's mad.
Or I'm thinking what? But yet within that, you're gonna have people from Congo, you're gonna have people from Ghana, you're gonna like different comedians, or whatever. I'm thinking, then display who's in it, like show, reflect the people that are in it to the title of the show. That's
very annoying.
I don't know. I just think like there's a lot of things that we do. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we do to kind of like display our ignorance about ourselves. And I think like it's a bit small-minded, man.
100%. A lot of ignorance, and we perpetuate it as well. Like,
100%. And it's just in our language.
What is that comedy show on the BBC? But it has and they kind of got a lot of backlash recently because they did a skit. It was Countdown, but the Jamaican version.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I know. What you're
talking what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Famalam.
Yeah, Famalam. And they had Countdown, but it was Jamaican version.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
They had just whoever's listening, YouTube it. But I'm not even Jamaican. But when I saw that, it was a bit cringy, man. It was like, why did they do that? Why is that? They're really perpetuating negative things about it's not just like Jamaican culture, but black people as a whole. That is negative, and it's like it's not everything you banter.
What's peak is we ended up there because it's gonna sound mad, yeah, this is gonna sound tight, but we end up here because of inclusivity. Like everything being inclusive has put us here, bro. Because there was a time where we were mad separated, and you'd have straight black shows on the BBC. Oh, give him a little black show, just have him one. Go and have one. You'd have like the real McCoys. Now that was a real black comedy sketch show that was on, and white people some of them would get the jokes, some wouldn't, but all black people at the time were feeling it. They would understand it. They would get the nuances, whether they found it funny or not. They understood the jokes. They understood the setups. It was black comedy by black people for black people. But you can't do that now.
But I swear it is. Some of them do right. Like, I don't know if I'm mistaken, but in that show, Saturn, I swear it wasn't just all. Like, the people who were writing the jokes were black.
No, they are black, but your audience that you're targeting is different.
It's not black, right? You're pandering to.
You need to target the majority. Imagine if you wrote jokes that only appealed to black people. Could you imagine the letters the BBC would get? You think you'd make it past the pilot? If your jokes only applied to the 4% or less, because not all black people are the same. So let's say 3% of the country. How many of them 3% watch the BBC? So let's say you only capture 1% of the country. Your show is a failure. It's tight. That's just the world we're in. And so they have to do the jokes that white people are going to giggle to. And unfortunately, jokes that white people are going to giggle to, black people as thieves, man, 52 kids, man can't say a word correctly because he got a Jamaican accent that's mad thick. Yeah, so
you think in a weird way,
he's well endowed as well.
Yeah, cocky long.
Do you think in a weird way we're still doing blackface?
Yeah, man.
Like,
if you're on the BBC and them team, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you're on the BBC and them team.
But you're still putting yourself down for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's crazy. That's actually right.
It's tight. The only way to escape this is to be on the independent thing. So like with Sideman and all these kind of people, like Chucky's doing big things. So these kind of people, they could not fit into a BBC box. You put Chucky on the BBC,
absolutely not.
I guarantee you, he would be looked at as a flop. Like the things they make him do would rattle off his whole being, his whole thing that makes him him.
That's the thing, you can't, because it's state-sponsored corporation.
Yeah.
There will be an element where you will have to pander to the majority of people, but only 4%.
Yeah,
so if that's the case, the jokes you're making has to appeal to the majority, which are black, and have a particular view of certain groups and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's blackface, and I feel like Famalam, in that particular instance, with that skit, I thought that was blackface, man, because I feel like all of them knew better than that. I don't think there was even one Caribbean person on the group or the team or that was involved in the writing of the joke. Nothing. It was really poorly executed, and I think.
Yeah, that
just for the sake of getting to the bag and getting the money, you need to stop doing all that blackface stuff.
I think it's tight.
To the point now where it's doing more damage than good.
But they're surrounded by people in the writing rooms that say, "No, that's a great joke." And so it's
hilarious.
It's an echo chamber. The Tuesdays they release it, and if you saw, they came out and said, "Bro, why are you getting onto us like that, man? We just trying to do what we can, and we're trying to be." You could tell that they genuinely thought that it was funny. Before
they genuinely thought it was that big a deal.
They thought it was a strong one. That was a strong hit.
That's telling. That's even more telling.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't see that as problematic, because sometimes I feel like there is an element that people feel like the conversation that we were just having about the whole Caribbean African guys, that certain cultures in the Caribbean are wayward. Yeah, anything goes. Don't matter. And I think. The fact that all the people that were on the team were African or African descent is telling that they didn't think that would be problematic, and that when they received the backlash, they then began to gaslight people who were saying, "This is offensive to me."
Yeah.
And it was just telling to see, like, bro, like, come on, man. If they had Africans in, I don't know, huts grunting and on the floor and that, the same perception that these white people had of us back in the day that were problematic, and they put that on BBC as a joke.
Yeah.
Like, everybody will be in uproar and people, you know, it will be justified. But when it's another group, you're supposed to suck it up. I don't know. I just felt like it was just in poor taste.
No, it's tight, bro. But it's like they have a history, the BBC, of doing this, like of late. Because even if you remember RS, before the BBC, before the BBC and afterwards, he's gifted. So he was gifted before,
really
and
amazing.
he was very gifted afterwards. But his BBC was a complete flop. How does that make sense? How do you get someone that is clearly gifted put on the biggest platform in this country, and he flops? But he's successful. He's successful afterwards, and he was successful before. That means it's this thing that's a flop. The BBC is a flop for our people, or for black people that want to remain black. The BBC ain't for you. Time.
Yeah, it's not. You know, it really isn't. They're behind time. They're behind the times.
I don't think they're even behind. I think they're purposely willing, wanting to drive a certain narrative. They don't want to change.
Yeah.
They want people that fit their box, that can perpetuate whatever it is, their narrative that they want. And I think you can have people who are talented. If you're not trying to bend to them, like, well, you don't really have a place here. Sorry. That kind of thing. I think BBC, I mean, I stopped paying my TV last time ago, but
come on.
They need to get a grip. They need to get a grip because, like, we're moving to a time where everything's online anyway. They're gonna end up not even having a base of people who even watch the show anymore, who watch the channel.
Once these elderly people are gone, who's watching BBC?
Who's watching BBC,
fam? Netflix and Amazon Prime.
So the only thing I watch on BBC is Match of the Day, my dude.
And now you can usually find these things on YouTube. So it's like,
you should have their own streaming thing now soon as well.
The highlights just on YouTube now. Like Sky Sports will put up the highlights the next day or whatever it is. So like you only have to wait an extra day, but I'll do that to save the money. So
100.
Yeah, it's all looking peak for the BBC, but it's from their own making, which is the sad thing.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, what was your little?
I think you just need to be a little bit more. Sorry, I don't want to say cognizant. I feel like we need to be embracing of the fact that we are not monolithic and we have differences within us.
Swallow the little thesaurus in that.
Fam, come on, G. But then also at the same time, at the same time, promote the fact and have solidarity that we are black people as a whole.
Jeez.
That's where the goodness comes from, the differences, but not using them differences to be divisive or degrading to one or the other. I think it's childish at this point. We actually have bigger fish to fry, and I just didn't like the fact that this conversation come up on socials. It's like, we're dealing with bigger. We're in a panoramic.
Come on,
people are dying.
Parentheses.
Like, people are dying. You know, and we're talking about this stuff that comes every year and that. Like, it's long.
Come on,
it's long.
Well, just before we move on to Rem's closing statement thing, I was going to say, imagine how mad it would be, or how lit, should I say, how live it would be if we were to have a restaurant that was black food, full stop. So it might have a little Jamaican jerk chicken with okra, or I don't know what you mix it with, but you'd have everything could be on your plate, and they'd have dishes.
Like a tapas.
Yeah, sort of like a tapas, but you'd have like, they would set up certain, so you could do tapas if you wanted to try stuff. So if you were from a certain country and you hadn't tried something from Nigeria, or you haven't tried something from Ghana, you could do a tapas and everyone would just mix. But you'd also have certain dishes that are set up by the chefs that, like, this is really good from this country, but it goes really well with this. So even though it naturally wouldn't be on the plate together, they complement each other, because you know chefs know what complements that and complements this. So they're like, this would naturally go together, even though this is from Nigeria, this is from Jamaica, this is from Guyana, this is from here. They would never be on the same plate normally.
That'd be sick.
That'd be certain, innit? And it would help to link everyone together, because it's like, rather than fragmenting us, you go to this restaurant to get this. You can go to one restaurant, everyone's sitting, everyone's eating. You go with all your friends, people from each country telling you, yeah, we usually eat this with this, and this is how you eat it with your hands, or this is how you eat it with this, or that'd be sick, man.
100%. 100%. I don't think that stuff like that will bring people closer together. Like, people want to have, I think, having a better understanding, also traveling the world as well, and deepen people deepen people holistically. Like, I'm in your country, I'm seeing different side of the culture, eating your food, listen to the different types of music, like embracing people who are older than me, you know, people who are like different walks of life, and you're actually seeing a whole other side. It will bring people together more, like more understanding. But currently we're not really doing that, or there's lack of it, and hence why we get all of these like super generalizations and like stereotypes, because there's no understanding.
Yeah. Rem?
Conclude
us.
Is there time?
Yeah, we're on 2 hours, but we'll just do a little conclusion.
Cool. All right. So, just a quick one. Guided freedom is better than endless restrictions. Guided freedom is better than endless restrictions. What do you guys think of that?
Boy.
Say it one more time.
It's a dark one.
Guided freedom is better than endless restrictions.
It's a dark one, because that is what's being said with this whole lockdowns and pandemic stuff. But the worry is that that is the mindset that has led to world wars, and that it's led to fascism and mass murder, get me, racism and all these kind of things. It's like
dictatorship.
Yeah, dictatorships. It's all right, cool. They've made it so bad for us to be equal that we may as well just go back to, you know me, segregation. It's sort of like that sort of setup. It's like, okay, they've made life so difficult for us to be like close together again and meeting each other and chilling with family, that we may as well just double down with this lockdown stuff and call it a day. Accept whatever rules they put in place. They tell us we can only meet family on a Wednesday, then that's what we're gonna do. And by the end of it, the rich will get richer, the rich will enjoy all their freedoms, and we'll just be rattled, essentially.
I think both of those are kind of peak. It was guided freedom versus
endless restrictions.
I think they both sound peak.
Big facts.
Why? Because with guided freedom, it's like they're giving you a choice. So like you pick what I picked for you. So you don't really have to.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? You pick out of these things, and you pick, and that's your freedom. And I think a lot of people argue that that's what democracy is, guided freedom, that they've given us this choice. But the choices are so close to each other that you have ultimately no choice. But because they've given you something to pick from, you feel like, I'm part of the process. But then the latter is mad, because like that's just a complete extreme. So
it's tight.
It's a bit sticky.
Yeah. What are you saying, Rem?
It's I don't know. This statement kind of perplexes me, man. I feel it's real. Like, you know, it's that thing of like being in secondary school and you only have a limited amount of options to pick from to do your GCSEs.
Yeah.
Like you can't. Do you know what I mean?
You can't do what you want. You can do what you've been offered.
Yeah, exactly. And I think guided freedom is just that, you know.
We're kind of there already, sort of thing. What you're saying? Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, it's like these are your options, but it's still in a sandbox. You can't go out of it.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want within this.
Like cattle.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you're free to roam within this fenced area. Yeah.
But then you have endless restrictions, which is kind of like you're always in prison type thing. It's like a never-ending thing, which in a way, I don't know, I kind of think they're slightly related. I don't know, man. I just think it's a very interesting statement that someone posted. I just thought, it's interesting topic to think about. out there.
Just keep in the back of your mind and going forward.
It is.
See how you
but
feel.
Yeah, it's very poignant for what's going on right now, to be honest. But,
Definitely.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's us. Any closing feelings?
Be kind to yourself, guys, and reach out to your support networks, man.
Come on.
Yeah. Second that. Yeah, same thing, man. Just reach out to to those that are around you, those you haven't really spoken to in a while. Give them a shout out. And also, if people roses while they can still smell them.
Yeah.
Bring back an old podcast. Love that.
Yeah.
Signing out.
Giving accolades is good, man. Good. So definitely. Yeah, man. What about you, Dom?
No, man. Keep listening. Keep living with us. We'll make it through, man.
Yeah.
We out.